It's Boxing Day 1900. A supply ship called the Hesperus is cutting through the freezing grey waters off the west coast of Scotland. On board is relief keeper Joseph Mòr, a man who has made this trip dozens of times before. As the boat approaches the island of Eilean Mòr, the crew fires a signal rocket. Standard procedure. They wait for the lighthouse keepers to appear on the rocky shore, as they always do. Nobody comes. They sound the foghorn. Nothing. Mòr climbs ashore alone and makes his way up the 160 stone steps to the lighthouse. The gate is closed. The main door is shut. He pushes it open and steps inside. The clock on the wall has stopped. The table is set for a meal that no one ever ate. A chair is tipped over on its side. And in a cage in the corner, a single canary, alive. 3 experienced men. No bodies. No note. No explanation. Just silence, and an island that had been dark for 11 days. What happened on Eilean Mòr on the night of December 15, 1900, has never been explained. And after more than 120 years, it remains one of the most haunting, unsolved mysteries in the world. To understand the enigma of the Flannan Isles, we must first appreciate the isolation and formidable nature of this remote archipelago. Located in the Outer Hebrides, off the rugged west coast of Scotland, the Flannan Isles are a small, uninhabited group of islands, often referred to as the Seven Hunters. The largest among them, Eilean Mòr, meaning the Big Island, became the stage for this enduring mystery. The decision to build a lighthouse on Eilean Mòr was driven by the treacherous waters surrounding the islands, a notorious hazard for shipping. Designed by the renowned engineer David Allen Stevenson, a member of the famous Stevenson lighthouse building family, construction began in 1895. It was a monumental task, taking 4 years to complete. Every stone, every piece of equipment, had to be hauled up the formidable 45-meter, 148 feet, cliffs from supply boats, a testament to the sheer will and engineering prowess of the era. The lighthouse, a sturdy masonry tower standing 23 meters, 75 feet, tall, was finally lit on December 7, 1899. It was a beacon of hope for mariners, flashing twice in rapid succession every 30 seconds, its light visible for 20 nautical miles. To support the keepers and maintain the light, a sophisticated cable-hauled railway system was installed, navigating the island's steep gradients. This railway, with its famous Clapham Junction fork, transported essential provisions, including the 20 barrels of paraffin consumed annually to fuel the lamp. Life on the Flannan Isles was one of extreme solitude, punctuated only by the rhythmic maintenance of the light and the infrequent visits of supply ships. Keepers worked in shifts, typically 3 men at a time, ensuring the light never failed. It was a demanding, often monotonous existence, requiring resilience, self-reliance, and an unwavering commitment to duty. The lighthouse was eventually automated in 1971, ending an era of human vigilance against the unforgiving sea. The men who served on these isolated outposts were a special breed. They were experienced, disciplined, and accustomed to the harsh realities of maritime life. On that fateful December night in 1900, the Flannan Isles lighthouse was manned by 3 such individuals: James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur. James Ducat, the principal keeper, was a seasoned veteran of the Northern Lighthouse Board. Born on August 11, 1856, he was a man of considerable experience, having dedicated years to the service. He was a family man, leaving behind a wife and 4 children, a testament to the personal sacrifices made by those who kept the lights burning. Thomas Marshall, the second assistant keeper, was also an experienced hand. His record, however, held a telling detail. He had once been fined 5 shillings for losing equipment during a gale. This seemingly minor incident would later become a crucial piece of the puzzle in understanding the events of December 1900, hinting at the immense pressure keepers faced to protect their valuable gear. Donald MacArthur served as the occasional keeper, filling in for William Ross, the first assistant, who was on sick leave. MacArthur was known to be a more volatile character, described by some as ill-tempered and prone to arguments. He too had a family, a wife and 2 children, whose lives would be irrevocably altered by the events on Eilean Mòr. These three men, with their distinct personalities and shared commitment to their arduous profession, were the sole inhabitants of the island when the mystery unfolded. The sequence of events leading up to the discovery of the empty lighthouse paints a chilling picture of an unfolding silence. The first indication that something was amiss came on December 15, 1900. The transatlantic steamer Archtour, en route from Philadelphia to Leith, passed the Flannan Isles and noted in its log that the lighthouse light was not operational. This crucial observation, made in poor weather conditions, marked the beginning of the 11-day period of darkness. 3 days later, on December 18th, the Archtour docked in Leith, and its report was duly passed on to the Northern Lighthouse Board. The alarm was raised, but the unforgiving North Atlantic weather intervened. The relief vessel, the lighthouse tender Hesperus, carrying Joseph Mòr, the relief keeper, was scheduled to sail on December 20th. However, severe storms prevented its departure from Breskleet, Lewis, for 6 agonizing days. It wasn't until noon on Boxing Day, December 26th, that the Hesperus finally reached Eilean Mòr. The delay, forced by nature's fury, only deepened the sense of foreboding. What awaited Joseph Mòr and the crew of the Hesperus would etch itself into maritime legend. As the Hesperus approached the island, an unsettling quiet hung in the air. There was no flag flying from the flagpole, no provision boxes left on the landing stage for restocking, and most disturbingly, no keepers to greet them. Captain Jim Harvey, sensing the gravity of the situation, blew the ship's whistle and fired a flare, desperate for a sign of life. There was none. Joseph Mòr, the relief keeper, was put ashore alone. His ascent up the 160 stone steps to the lighthouse was met with an eerie stillness. He found the entrance gate to the compound closed, and the main door to the lighthouse shut tight. Pushing it open, he stepped into a scene that would forever haunt him. Inside, the silence was profound. The clock on the kitchen wall had stopped. A meal, seemingly prepared, lay untouched on the table. A chair was toppled over. The beds were unmade. The only sign of life was a single canary, chirping softly in its cage. Mòr's initial report to Captain Harvey confirmed their worst fears. The lighthouse was deserted. A more thorough search was conducted by Mòr, the Hesperus's second mate, and a seaman. They found that the lamps had been meticulously cleaned and refilled, indicating that the keepers had been performing their duties shortly before their disappearance. However, a crucial detail emerged. A set of oilskins, essential protective gear against the harsh weather, was found inside the lighthouse. This suggested that at least one keeper had ventured outside without them, a highly unusual and dangerous act. No trace of the 3 men was found anywhere on the island. The Hesperus returned to Lewis, leaving Mòr and 3 volunteer seamen to tend the light and continue the fruitless search. Captain Harvey's telegram to the Northern Lighthouse Board on December 26, 1900, encapsulated the grim reality. The mystery of the Flannan Isles demanded an official inquiry. On December 29, 1900, Robert Muirhead, a superintendent for the Northern Lighthouse Board, arrived on Eilean Mòr to lead the investigation. Muirhead was no stranger to the missing men. He had personally recruited all 3 and knew them well, adding a layer of personal tragedy to his professional duty. Muirhead meticulously examined the scene. He noted the oilskins left behind and concluded that they belonged to Donald MacArthur, suggesting MacArthur had gone out in his shirt sleeves during heavy rain. This was a serious breach of NLB rules, as keepers were strictly forbidden from leaving the lighthouse unattended, especially without proper gear. The most compelling evidence, however, lay at the western landing stage. The island bore the scars of a recent, ferocious storm. A supply box, located 33 meters, 108 feet, above sea level, was smashed open, its contents scattered. Iron railings were bent and twisted. A section of the iron railway was wrenched from its concrete moorings, and a rock weighing over a ton had been displaced. Even more astonishingly, turf had been ripped away from the cliff edge at a height of over 60 meters, 200 feet, above sea level. Muirhead himself noted that the damage was difficult to believe unless actually seen. In his official report, Muirhead presented his conclusion. Muirhead's theory posited that Duckett and Marshall had ventured to the western landing to secure equipment during the storm. A colossal rogue wave, or a series of them, had then swept them into the sea. MacArthur, seeing their peril or perhaps going to warn them, had rushed out in his shirt sleeves and met the same fate. This explanation, while tragic, offered a plausible scenario rooted in the brutal realities of the sea. For many years, the mystery was compounded by the circulation of supposed log entries from the Flannan Isles Lighthouse. These entries, widely quoted and adding a layer of psychological drama, spoke of unprecedented storms, strange behavior among the keepers, and a chilling final message. The alleged entries claimed that on December 12th, Marshall had written of severe winds the likes of which I have never seen before in 20 years. He supposedly noted Duckett being very quiet, and, most unusually, Donald MacArthur, a man known for his toughness, was reportedly crying. The next day, December 13th, the log supposedly stated the storm was still raging and all three men were praying. The final entry, dated December 15th, chillingly read, "Storm ended, sea calm. God is over all." These entries were puzzling. Experienced keepers in a secure lighthouse, praying in fear, and the sudden calm after such a ferocious storm, with no mention of the missing men? Furthermore, meteorological records indicated no major storms in the area on December 12th, 13, and 14. The discrepancy was glaring. The truth, however, was far simpler and perhaps less dramatic. An investigation by journalist Mike Dash for the Fortean Times conclusively revealed that these log entries were entirely fictional. They were later additions to the story, fabricated years after the actual disappearance, likely to heighten the mystery and sensationalize the event. While they added to the folklore, they ultimately served as a distraction from the more grounded, albeit tragic, realities of the case. With the fictional log entries dismissed, we are left to confront the core question. What truly happened to James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur? Over the decades, various theories have emerged, each attempting to fill the void left by their disappearance. We will examine the most prominent ones, weighing the evidence that supports or contradicts them. The official explanation, put forth by Robert Muirhead, remains the most widely accepted and plausible theory. The men were swept away by an exceptionally large or rogue wave. Evidence supporting. Analysis. This theory aligns with the physical evidence found on the island and the known dangers of Lighthouse keeping in such a volatile environment. The Flannan Isles are notorious for their fierce storms and unpredictable seas. The sequence of events, two men attempting to secure equipment, followed by the third rushing to their aid, is a tragically plausible scenario. The closed gate and main door, while initially puzzling, could be explained by the men securing them before venturing out, or by the force of the wave itself. The confined, isolated nature of lighthouse life has often fueled speculation of psychological breakdown or violent conflict among keepers. This led to theories of murder or madness. Theory A: violent altercation. This posits that Donald MacArthur, known for his ill temper, might have initiated a fight at the western landing, leading to all three men falling to their deaths from the cliffs. Theory B: murder-suicide. A more extreme version suggests MacArthur murdered Duckett and Marshall, disposed of their bodies in the sea, and then committed suicide by throwing himself from the cliffs. Evidence supporting: none. These theories are based purely on MacArthur's reputation for being quarrelsome and the inherent psychological pressures of isolation. Analysis. While the psychological toll of isolation is undeniable, there is absolutely no physical evidence to support these claims. No blood, no signs of struggle, no weapons were found. The absence of bodies also makes it impossible to verify. These theories, while adding a sensational element, remain pure conjecture, fueled by the human tendency to seek dramatic explanations for the inexplicable. The sheer mystery of the disappearance, coupled with the remote and ancient nature of the Flannan Isles, inevitably gave rise to supernatural explanations. Theory A: sea monster/giant seabird. Early, more fanciful accounts suggested the men were devoured by a colossal sea serpent or carried away by an enormous seabird. Theory B: ghost ship/malevolent presence. Local folklore, particularly the legend of the Phantom of the Seven Hunters, hinted at a malevolent, ghostly presence or a phantom ship that spirited the men away. Evidence supporting none. These are products of folklore, fear, and the human imagination struggling to comprehend the unknown. Analysis. These theories, while captivating, lack any basis in reality. They reflect the human desire to impose narrative and meaning onto events that defy conventional understanding. They are part of the enduring mythos of the Flannan Isles but offer no credible explanation for the disappearance. The human mind, when confronted with an inexplicable void, often seeks to fill it with the fantastic. The Flannan Isles, with their ancient standing stones and remote, windswept landscape, were already steeped in local legends and superstitions. It is easy to see how the sudden, complete disappearance of three men could be woven into this existing tapestry of folklore. Tales of mythical creatures, vengeful spirits, or even portals to other dimensions provided a comforting, albeit irrational, framework for understanding an event that defied rational explanation. However, as compelling as these stories may be, they remain firmly in the realm of myth and imagination, offering no tangible clues to the fate of Duckett, Marshall, and MacArthur. Our investigation must remain grounded in the available evidence, however sparse. Other theories ventured into the realm of human intervention, suggesting either forced removal or a deliberate departure. Theory A: foreign spies. Some speculated that the men were kidnapped by foreign agents, perhaps for their knowledge of maritime routes or lighthouse technology. Theory B: deliberate escape. Another idea was that the keepers, weary of their isolated lives, had arranged for a ship to pick them up, allowing them to escape their duties and start new lives elsewhere. Evidence supporting none. Analysis. Both theories are highly improbable. The remote location of the Flannan Isles would make a clandestine abduction or escape extremely difficult to execute without leaving any trace. There was no evidence of an unauthorized vessel, nor any indication that the men had planned to abandon their posts, a serious crime with severe consequences. The idea of foreign spies, while a popular trope in fiction, has no historical basis in this case. Lighthouse technology, while important, was not so secretive or advanced in 1900 as to warrant such an elaborate abduction. Similarly, the notion of a deliberate escape, while offering a sense of agency to the keepers, is equally unsupported. Lighthouse keepers were well paid for their time, and abandoning one's post was a serious offense, often leading to imprisonment. Furthermore, the meticulous state of the lighthouse, cleaned lamps, prepared meal, suggests that the men were performing their duties up until the moment of their disappearance, not planning a clandestine departure. The logistics of arranging a secret rendezvous with a ship in such a remote and often tempestuous location, without leaving any evidence, would have been incredibly challenging, if not impossible. These theories, while intriguing, ultimately fail to stand up to scrutiny when confronted with the practical realities of the situation. After more than 120 years, the Flannan Isles lighthouse mystery continues to captivate and confound. While Robert Muirhead's rogue wave theory offers the most rational explanation, the complete absence of bodies and the eerie scene discovered by Joseph Moore leave just enough room for doubt, ensuring the legend endures. The lasting cultural impact of this event is profound. It has inspired countless books, poems, songs, and even films, such as the 2019 movie The Vanishing. The 1912 ballad Flannan Isle by Wilfred Wilson Gibson, though containing some inaccuracies like the overturned chair and uneaten meal, cemented the story in popular imagination. Why does this particular mystery resonate so deeply? Perhaps it is the stark vulnerability of humanity against the raw, untamed power of nature. The image of three experienced men, swallowed by the sea, leaving behind only a stopped clock and an untouched meal, is a powerful metaphor for our own fragility. It speaks to a primal fear of the unknown, of being utterly consumed by forces beyond our control. The lighthouse, a symbol of safety and guidance, becomes a stage for a terrifying demonstration of nature's indifference. It is also the lack of closure. The families of James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur never knew their ultimate fate. No graves to visit, no definitive answers to provide solace. This human tragedy, coupled with the remote, almost mythical setting of the Flannan Isles, ensures that the story remains etched in our collective consciousness. The absence of bodies is a particularly poignant detail, leaving loved ones in a perpetual state of limbo, forever wondering what truly transpired. This unresolved grief adds another layer of human drama to an already compelling mystery. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse stands today, automated and silent, a monument to both human ingenuity and the sea's relentless power. Its light still cuts through the darkness, but the mystery of its vanished keepers remains, a haunting whisper on the wind, a timeless tale of the sea's inscrutable secrets. The disappearance of the Flannan Isles keepers did more than just create a captivating mystery. It left an indelible mark on the collective psyche of maritime communities and beyond. The event served as a stark reminder of the inherent dangers faced by those who manned these isolated beacons, highlighting the immense courage and resilience required for such a profession. It also spurred a reevaluation of safety protocols and staffing arrangements in remote lighthouses, though complete automation would ultimately be the long-term solution. The story of Eilean Mòr has transcended its historical context, becoming a powerful cultural touchstone. It has been reinterpreted and reimagined in various forms, each iteration adding to its mystique. Beyond Wilfred Wilson Gibson's famous poem, the mystery has found its way into television series, documentaries, and even video games, demonstrating its enduring appeal across different media. Each new artistic interpretation, while perhaps taking liberties